get any clarity on Lucas's injury?
Yeah, it's. I think we definitely avoided something serious, but how long he'll be out remains to be seen.
How do you think he was playing prior to the injury?
I think he's playing pretty well. He's been impactful and playing physical. So if he's unable to go, it's definitely going to be a loss.
Did it happen on the sack? Because I don't think he played after that.
I believe so. Yes.
Zach Tom was in pretty rough shape after the game. Do you know how he got through as far as today goes? And
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had any updates one way or the other in regards to like any setbacks or anything like that. I thought he battled. I thought he played extremely hard, and it was nice to have him back out there.
And afterwards, Josh was talking about some of the stuff that he was dealing with. Just what did you think of what he gave you guys in the run game, with some of the stuff that he was up against?
Yeah, I think anytime. I didn't even realize it, to be honest with you. And then to come to find out afterwards, it was his flu game. So, to have 150 yards of offense and 2 touchdowns, and there were some really good runs in there in terms of just being able to make people miss and the physicality. And I thought our O-line did, in some moments, did a really nice job coming off the ball, creating some lanes for him. I still think we got to clean up some things with our outside zone, and that doesn't fall squarely on the O-line just across the board.
Were you expecting them to play as much too high as they did? It felt like you had to really commit to the running game because of it.
Yeah. No, we knew that's a possibility, but they did some things. They went off profile. I think, and I can't speak for them, but I would say that it sure felt like they were trying to eliminate big explosive plays, and luckily for us, we were able to hit some of those, whether it's checkdowns or we're throwing quick game. We hit MG on a stick concept, and he's able to turn that into an explosive gain, and that's what you got to be able to do when you're playing teams that are going to play soft. You got to run the ball, and then you got to take the profit, and sometimes it's the checkdowns, and you need your checkdowns to get to maximize those gains.
Speaking of explosive gains, how do you view your pass defense yesterday? Like, you didn't give up any explosive gains. Like, they were along at 19.
Yeah.
What Flacco picked away at you a bit, and they got him back in the game to some extent.
I don't know. One of our coaches said that his average release time was 2 point whatever seconds. So he was getting the ball up pretty well, or pretty quickly. And I think what they did a nice job of is because we played a decent amount of man coverage, and I mean, there were a couple of those plays that he threw up to Chase that, I mean, were in position to make a play, and that's just a great player they have. And that's the danger when you're going against a veteran quarterback. He knows exactly where to go with the ball based on what he's seen, and if given the opportunity, he's just going to lay it out there where his guy can make a play on it. And I mean, he's one of the best in the game for a reason, because he makes those plays. And they were some, I would say, high degree of difficulty, some of those receptions, and it gave him a chance to stay in the game all the way to the end.
Do you expect pretty much every quarterback that you see from here on out to have the same philosophy with your rush of getting the ball out quick, and how do you counteract that?
I would say that's been a theme through 5 games. So, teams just getting the ball out quick with quick game and screens and some run alerts, and we getting a ton of double chippers as well to when they do want to or need to try to push the ball down the field. That's just going to be the way it is, I think, for a while.
How do you counteract that defensively when that's what you're going to be facing?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that you can do in terms of just presenting different looks or coverage schemes or simulated pressures, whatever it may be. But I think it's just going to be important for us to make sure we're playing complementary football, and we got to get leads on people.
What makes a good late game defense?
It's a hell of a question. A defense that, I guess, goes out there and gets the results that everybody wants. So, I thought they did a good job. They ran the ball. They were in more manageable situations in the second half. like in the first half, a lot of those third downs were like 3rd and 10 plus, and like that's tough sledding against a good pass rush. So in the second half, they were just in a lot more third and manageables. There were a couple situations where I thought we had what I would call leaky yardage, where we're playing some soft zone, they're hitting a check down, and instead of the check down going backwards, they're falling forward for 2, 3, 4 yards extra, and so that keeps them ahead of the sticks.
So Matt, when I asked you yesterday about them having the scoring drives late and that happening with Cleveland and with the Cowboys too, you said it would be irresponsible to answer without looking at the film.
Well, the Cleveland was kind of,
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. There was they were inside the 10-yard line, so maybe inside the 5. So it's really it's been the last 2 games. It's been Dallas. It's been the Bengals.
So is there any commonality there other than not getting takeaways, which would obviously help a lot?
Yeah, that would certainly help. That's something that Half and I were kind of like just nitpicking, like why is it happening? Because if you look at the scoring differential, I just looked at it. I think we were up in the first quarter throughout the course of the season. We scored 24 points, and the opposition scored 0. And then it's the same. I mean, there's a big discrepancy in the second quarter as well. But the second half, I think we're -6 on the season.
I think you've allowed 102 total points. 80 of them are in the second.
Yeah. So like we're
63 in the fourth quarter.
right. We're just like, why is that happening? Are we running out of gas? Obviously, they got the ball to start the second half. They go on that 18-play drive or whatever it was. I mean, ate up damn near 10 minutes off the clock or whatever it was. And I don't know, does that gas you out? Does that make you more tired? Do we need to roll more guys in the first half? The hard part of the first half was a bunch of 3 and outs, so guys feel fresh, and then you put them in there. So, there's things we talked about in regards to, are we well conditioned enough from practice? Did our guys do enough on the bye week? All that stuff has kind of been floated around, trying to figure out as to why this is happening, because certainly we're trying to find solutions.
With Jordan and his legs, the plays that he makes in his legs, I imagine that's a balance there, because those are obviously really important plays, but it's also your quarterback. When would you like him, when's the right time for him to use his legs to pick up yards, make plays, and when would you like him not to?
Yeah, you can't answer a question. I couldn't even tell you. It's just, what is the situation? What is the defense presenting? What does the pocket look like? It's impossible to answer that question. You know what I'm saying? And to give you a specific when, like, do whatever you got to do. If you got to go win the game and get a first down, then we talked about it today. Like, he slid. Do you dive forward because you get protection now in that moment? Do you run somebody over? Like, what do you got to do? Bottom line is, I don't want him to be reckless, but at the same time, there's situations, especially on those gotta-have-it situations, whether it's 3rd down, 4th down, where he may have to just go get it. And he's done that this year. I think, what did he convert, 3 yesterday, first downs using his legs? That's big time for us, because it's impossible to always have the perfect play call based on, especially they did a good job of Rolodexing some different coverages, and 3rd down they had showed a bunch of man coverage up to our game, and then they played a bunch of 2-shell. So, if you're going in with a plan, like, they're going to get you on the first one more than likely. The thing that you want to make sure you do is when you give these guys plays, is you want to have an answer to whatever it is that could present itself. But ultimately, sometimes there's some plays that don't have the best answers. And there was they played early in the game on that first 3rd down. They dropped 8 and played a version of 2-man. And sometimes the best answers versus a 2-man coverage is to take off and run. He did exactly that and was able to get a first down, which was big for us.
Matt, he had angry run where he ran the guy over against Washington. Yesterday, obviously, I'm sure you would like him to either slide later or dive forward so you can get the first down. But do you think he's made really good decisions on when to maybe be not reckless, but take that chance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we talked about that one. I was like, dude, I don't want you taking those shots. And I even thought early on in the game he was getting hit too much. I think by and large he's played pretty well and made really good decisions. Obviously, the one that is obvious to everybody is you just can't throw a pick in the red zone. And I know he wishes he had that play back.
Matt, you feel the kickoff return took a step forward yesterday, helping out your offense?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're starting with good field position, I think a big key to that was we didn't have any penalties on kickoff or on kickoff return, but certainly we had 2 other penalties that we got to clean up.
You mentioned the one where Jordan slid short on third down, third 7, I think it was.
It was 2nd and 7.
Okay. He had a couple earlier in the season too. What is the coaching point there? I think maybe against Washington he slid short. I'm trying to think. I'm too old to remember the specifics, but there's a couple
You and me
earlier.
both, Bill.
Yeah, it sucks, right?
Yeah,
But there's
it
a
does.
couple earlier in the season though. To my point, he slid short.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's doing what he can do. It's just, you know, the one thing I always challenge him on, because I think sometimes defenders are taught not to, like, go for the pump fake. But I think even if you're past the stick, sometimes you do that, you can get a guy to freeze. So that's kind of been a point of emphasis. But, you know, every situation's a little bit different. Obviously, don't want him to take those unnecessary hits, but at the same time, if you can go get the first down, especially kind of at the end of a game, like, do what you got to do.
Matt, getting back to the Bengals being able to stay ahead of the sticks for the majority of that game, obviously a holding call would set them back, put them back 10 yards. Instead of 2nd and 5, they're at 1st and 20, right?
Yeah, that's usually, those are killer.
So, do you have to maybe rattle your saber a little bit about Micah getting held as much as he is? I mean, it's
Yeah.
blatant, everybody sees it, and it's just not getting called.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, certainly it's frustrating when it's blatant. Like, those should get called, right? But I do think there's some situations where there's some close ones on us as well. So I think as long as there's a consistency, that's all you want, is if you're going to not call it one way, don't call it the other, I would say. But certainly that would help. I mean, I know he's frustrated by it. And there are some that are egregious, and I think those need to be called.
Now, what do you think of the game-to-game progression that Golden has shown you? And maybe on a different team where you didn't have some experienced guys, he'd be getting even more opportunities, but do you feel good about kind of the opportunities?
I do. I think he's made a lot of strides. I really do. I mean, obviously, those were some big-time plays he made yesterday. All 3 of his receptions, I thought he did a nice job on the jet sweep, just showing the great contact balance. I think he's competing more and more in the run game with the blocking. So yeah, I'm really excited about where he's going and where he could go, and I think he'll continue to get there because the guy approaches the game the right way. It's a blessing and a curse at times that you have so much confidence. Like, I mean, I think Rome's playing really well. I think Wicks is playing really well. Malik Heath has gone in there and done a really nice job for us. And certainly you're missing Jaden and Christian. So, I mean, we got a lot of different guys. Then you factor in the tight ends as well. All those guys are doing a really good job. Tuck, obviously, his impact's been huge. I think Musgrave's a guy that we got to try to get going a little bit more as well. We tried on the first play of the game, and we just had a little breakdown in protection, and Jordan scrambled up and hit Rome over the middle for a big chunk. So, yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed for sure. It's not always, and you want to get them all involved, but I think one of the beauties of it is that you don't have to. You put these guys in position. You want to showcase what they can do, and certainly put them in a spot where you feel comfortable with whatever route is that they're running. And then it kind of just is dictated by whatever the defense is going to play, where the ball ends up going. And I think that allows Jordan to play really disciplined as well, and just, you know, reading with his feet and let the coverage take you to where the ball needs to go, and to have the confidence that any one of those guys is going to make the play.
You mentioned a lot of mouths to feed. Yesterday after the game, you talked about how it's always been spread it out, spread it around, and it's not going to change. Is that a conscious decision just because you need to keep everyone feeling like they are involved?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think you go into a game, and I mean, guys get excited if they think they have a legitimate shot at getting the ball. So you have plays for each guy, and certainly I think how those plays get called off the call sheet is a lot to do with what you're seeing from a defensive perspective. You know, like there was some coverages that we were anticipating that we didn't see, and so then it eliminates a few plays. Like, why would I call this if we're not getting those coverages? So, but yeah, that's on a weekly basis in regards to teams are going to do things to offset tendencies to try to keep you off balance, and I thought they did some good things yesterday.
With Javon in protocol for the second time, is there any?
He's not in protocol.
He's not in protocol.
No.
Is that I have to assume, especially after he was in it a couple weeks ago, is that like feels like he dodged a bullet there as well?
Yeah, it's a major sense of relief. I went up to him right after the game. I'm like, hey, how? He's like, I'm fine. And he goes, and usually you can tell if a guy's dinged up or not, but I'm certainly not a medical professional, but those guys took him through, got evaluated, and he passed. So he was great today. He told me it was more of a stinger than anything else.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.